because I myself was wrongfully arrested by an overtly homophobic cop at age 17. So since then, I've been working in advocacy groups to help reduce police misconduct in the LGBTQ community. So my question is, what are the main causes of police misconduct against LGBTQ communities in the US and the UK, focusing primarily on Chicago and London? So by police misconduct, I mean it in one or two ways. The first way would be procedural, which is where police would disobey the rules of the department. And then the second would be criminal, which is where they overtly disobey the state law or federal law. Misconduct usually results in discriminatory and wrongful arrest, like what I experienced at age 17. And in some cases, there are instances of police brutality. This includes unlawful search and seizure, fabricated stories like false statements like we heard before, and even in more corrupt cases, police have planted evidence to prove their case. Richard Fiorito, I can practice his name on my, I swear. He's probably the most prominent case right now. In 2010, he was accused of 110 fake DUIs, and every DUI involved a homosexual person. Right now, well, in 2011, he was dismissed in Chicago. He was also dismissed in Illinois. But 21 of those 110 suits have been picked up by federal courts. The two main causes of misconduct I've seen is insufficient and ineffective legislation to protect LGBTQ communities and latent homophobia, primarily in the law enforcement sector. Misconduct in Chicago is primarily in the Lakeview area, Boys Town area, which is primarily homosexual. Police harasses the gay youth more so, and especially the homeless gay youth. There are a lot of homeless gay youth in the Boys Town area that have been put out because they are homosexual, and they kind of come to the area to seek refuge. On June 29, 2007, there were 3 lesbian women leaving the Chicago Gay Pride, where an off-duty cop ran them off the road, screamed discriminatory names at them. One lady was hit by the officer. Excuse me. And in court, his fellow officers protected him. They denied all claims by the 3 women, and most defense attorneys in that case believe that Chicago have a policy of a code of silence, which is where other officers will protect the officer even if they did produce some form of misconduct, whether it be procedural or criminal. Misconduct in London, England and Wales passed their Sexual Offences Act of 1967. This prevented displays of affection in public, but allowed it in private as long as you're over the age of 21. Now, before this was passed, homosexual activity was illegal, period, in private or in public. But after this was passed, like I said, they could do it in private as long as they were of the age of 21. They could not display homosexual activity or affection in front of any guest, whether they were a family member or whether they were gay themselves. And police really enforced this law. Homosexuals were dragged in the streets. They were beaten with handcuffs. It was pretty bad. In the years spent in 1989 through 1990, there were a series of 4 murders. All 4 of these men were murdered because they were homosexual. And although that these cases were never settled, many believe that it was a conspiracy theory by a couple of officers because each of these men were killed 3 months apart. And that from 1989 to 1990. My first cause is flawed legislation. In the past, one of the major causes of police misconduct in LGBTQ communities was a lack of laws protecting gay men and women. It wasn't until the 1990s when Illinois passed their 720 law, which revised the hate crimes law to include gay men and women. In London, Metropolitan Police were able to arrest homosexuals because of Sexual Offenses Act of 1967. London was a bit slower for establishing laws to protect homosexuals, but they officially revised the Sexual Offenses Act in 2003, which decriminalized homosexual displays of affection. This basically states that latent homophobia is the second cause. Sherman Arnott, which is criminal justice theorist, believed that police officers were homophobic and still have latent homophobia within them, and that's what causes them to behave poorly towards homosexuals. As far as reform, in Chicago we have the Center on Halsted. They provide a legal clinic. They have a legal clinic that provides free and confidential information and referrals from local volunteer attorneys and legal organizations. We also have Youth Pride Services, which I'm also a part of. They originated in Chicago. They do the same thing that Center on Halsted does, but now they have gone national, and they have a spot in the White House, which is pretty awesome. In London, the Metropolitan Police launched the LGBTQ Liaison Campaign, which is where they will inform all gay men and women about different ways to contact them if they are being harassed by anybody, even an officer. The LGBTQ group of advisors, they check the progress of the Metropolitan Police, especially the Liaison Campaign, and provides legal counseling for LGBTQ individuals as well. That's it.
Rebecca, that was fantastic, and I really applaud you for taking on this particular topic, because while you were presenting it, it's going through in my head and to my knowledge, I believe around the country here in the U.S. we have innocence projects that are focused on DNA cases, innocence projects that are focused on non-DNA cases, innocence projects that are focused on youth, like the Center on Wrongful Convictions of Youth, your new Center on Wrongful Convictions of Women. We have in Stanford, they have a legal clinic, I think, dealing with sentences that people receive that are too long and unfair. I can't think of a Center on Wrongful Convictions or an innocence project that's dedicated strictly to helping individuals who are LGBTQ. And I think that you so nicely illustrated why it is. So this is something that wrongful conviction scholars really need to be paying more attention to combine the research that you discussed today to focus on how is it then that we should be especially cautious in the system for LGBTQ. So thank you, that was very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I was going through the same kind of mental Rolodex process as Sherry was. It's true, I don't think that it's really an issue that's been focused on. So I appreciate you giving this presentation. I found it very educational. And I'm really sorry that you went through that process at 17. It's something that no one should ever have to go through, the experience of being wrongfully arrested. And it's particularly horrible when it happens to youth. But I'm very impressed that you've used it as a way to spur yourself into action. So, yeah, thank you for your presentation.
And I'll just say that, I think your second cause, the latent homophobia, or even if it's overt homophobia, I think that's the real cause of why there's this harassment. But I really appreciate that you focused in on the lack of legislation to protect those in the LGBTQ community, because realistically we can say, well, the problem is there's homophobia amongst police and really everybody in this culture at large, so we need to eliminate that, but how do you do it? And realistically speaking, you're going to combat that by establishing societal ground rules through law in order to protect interest groups. And I think that just shows that you approach this problem in a very realistic fashion, and I think that you've got a great future in advocating for your interest group, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we're a little bit over time, so I don't want to take a ton more time. I just wanted to see if there's like maybe one or two questions. We probably could take the time for that, so a lot of it but I did really want to make a point of saying that, you know, there's a lot of diversity amongst the presentations that you see. You know, every single person in this classroom worked really hard and has like really started from, you know, sometimes not having a whole lot of information about any of these topics before coming into the class, and just really done an amazing amount of research. And God, everyone did a fantastic job. So I want to, all of you should feel really, really great about the job that you did. Are there any questions? Anyone? And you can ask questions.
I just want to say to you guys and to you, Professor Barrett, that you guys did very complicated, complex things, and somehow you distilled them and you were able to express them in a way that those of us who are not specialists could really get excited about and listen to the plus. And we were jealous about how they know how to do PowerPoint because that was really sophisticated. So just thank you for your audience.
I know that a few people are going to dinner after, and you think that's welcome to join us as welcome too. I mean, I know they can join us as welcome too. And thanks so much for all your hard work, and good luck to everybody with the last couple weeks of the semester. And all of us, whatever we do, it's a really busy time. So best of luck and congratulations.